Hi, welcome to the Ultras Pod first half. Starting from this week, we are going to be having 2 episodes a week. We're going to be focusing on the women's team and the men's team in the 2 separate podcasts. This week, the women kick off our first half, so we will be doing a quick review of their preseason games with the main focus on Holland Park Hawks being their last one, and a quick preview on the Kappa Pro Series game against Moreton City coming up on Friday. Reviewing the ladies' preseason games. Now, the ladies seem to have a really, really tough preseason. They seem to play mostly NPL teams, with the exception of the Holland Park Hawks game, which was the last game. They played against Eastern Suburbs, Sunshine Coast, and Gold Coast. And from what I understand, and for what was said to us, because we missed, unfortunately, those 3 matches due to things like the Hellenic Cup and things like that, they were also on at other times. From what I understand, there were good hitouts against really tough opponents.
I think regardless of where you are in what league or where you are in the world, it's always better to test your strengths and your prowess against those stronger teams. Because by observation and playing them, you get to see and learn how the better teams do it.
Yeah,
and
exactly
you can adopt that into your own game.
Yeah.
Which then creates a better playing squad and a better way of doing things within your own team. And
we've said it before, there's more lessons to be learnt from a loss than there is to be learnt from a win, especially a win where you're 5, 6, 7-0.
Absolutely.
And obviously we would have had, we did have a few departures coming down from the NPL down to FQPL 1, fairly understandable. So we had a bit of a broken squad, a bit of a new squad to contend with as well. So to then throw them all into the deep end, preseason, play 3 NPL teams that have been NPL teams for a fair while is a really good test. And in my opinion, much respect to the coach Cam.
Yeah, it's a tough ask. I mean, obviously the girls knew what they had to achieve and what they wanted to get out of those 3 games. But as you said earlier, they've done well, considering the caliber of the opposition and the scorelines against them.
But we'll duck into a little bit more detail on the Holland Park Hawks game, which we did see. It was a bit of a younger squad, I understand, because they were missing the likes of Kiralee Phillips, who's obviously our new captain, new arrivals such as Ruby Sampson-Wood, and obviously a few others. Like I said, it was a bit of a younger squad. But goals from Eva, Georgia, and Sarah Daly got us over the line. 2 goals for Sarah Daly, actually. One right at the death there.
Yeah, I thought the first half was like a chess game.
Yeah.
They were sort of sussing each other out, and I think we played well across the back line the whole 90 minutes between our keeper and our back 3. At times, a back 4, unbelievable. Passing through the lines. Girls played really good football. And it wasn't until the second half, as you and I have agreed, it just clicked and fell into place. And they just ran away with it.
Yeah, that second half was a lot better than the first. Again, as you said, the first half was a bit of a chess match. They were a bit of maybe feeling each other out a little bit. Second half, our playing up from the back, our passing up to the flanks and back in again. Some of the runs we were making were incredible. And I remember saying at the time that we were really impressed by the centre midfield pairing of Eva Heron and Rioya. Absolutely incredible.
And some of those long balls, as you said, to the flanks, and the players obviously reading those long balls were just out on their own, and Holland Park had no answer.
It was a really good showing, and because that was a little bit of a Holland Park club day, as I understand. The 23 men's didn't get a chance to play because they had a few injuries to contend with, but the women played and then the men played afterwards in their Kappa Pro Series game. So it was really, really good. There was a bit of buzz around, obviously, because there's a lot of Holland Park members there to watch both games as well. So yeah, it was really, really good day to really good game to cap off, and like I said, to run home 4-0 winners really showed the tenacity and the control they had in that match.
Oh, for sure, without a doubt. And the coaching staff, hats off to them. They obviously can see what the girls are capable of, and they tweaked a few things. And again, what can we say? Brilliant performance.
And first competitive game of the new season, a little bit of a new history for us being in the FQPL. Rounding our competitive game off for this year is against Moreton City in the Kappa Pro Series. Now, the Kappa Pro Series, as we've discovered, is a little bit different in the women's to the men's, as it's two FQPL, it's FQPL 1 and FQPL, and there's only 4 teams per group. So it's a little bit of a different beast to contend with, but still, it should be interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, very much so. All teams are competitive. All teams are out to do the job. So it'll be a great game, especially against one of our old, how would you put it, enemies?
Our old foe, an old foe.
Our old foes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a great matchup.
Well, funnily enough, the last time Olympic women's played Moreton City, they were Moreton Bay. And that was in the NPL a couple of years ago, and Moreton Bay, sorry, despite being relegated that season, won both games against us.
Well, history won't be repeated.
No, time to make some new history. Yeah, definitely an old foe indeed.
Yes, that is for sure. In both men and women's.
Yeah, exactly right. Seems to be a club-wide thing.
It is.
But yeah, so again, we're making a little bit of new history ourselves, being in the FQPL 1, I believe, for the first time. We had a shocking season last season in regards to injuries more than anything.
Yeah.
Some of the stories that we heard come out of the women's team in regards to the amount of injuries that were happening through that team, and having to have some of the 23 girls playing both 90 minutes and things like that. Just absolutely ridiculous. And, hats off to them for making it through the season, definitely. It's unfortunately it ended this way, but again, new history, new era, time to go straight back up. And the Ultras will be there alongside the entire way. But just quickly touching on Moreton City's record last season, they are also in the FQPL 1, so they're one of the FQPL 1 teams in our group. The other 2 teams in our group are Sanford Rangers and Ipswich Knights. Moreton City's FQPL rating, or FQPL 1 record last season, was only 4 wins and 2 draws from their 20 games. So not an incredibly impressive record to boot. 31 goals for, 66 against, so a minus 35 goal difference. Yeah, so
it's kind of sad in anyone's language, isn't it, when a team gets that kind of goal difference, and
yeah,
you got to feel from them in some way, but that feeling ends on Friday.
Yeah, exactly right. And not to mention, they won't want a repeat of that. So it's going to be a different team. That's last season's record. That's last season, But I'm not sure what their form is at the moment. So this is all we've got to go off.
Yeah, and we don't know who they've recruited. We don't know if they've brought players up they've groomed players up from their junior sides up into the senior team. Whole different prospect. It could be a whole different surprise. But again, based on what we've seen as far as our girls play, I really don't think we'll have a problem.
No, I think we're pretty close to ready, and I think it's going to be a really, really good test. Again, your first competitive match is against one of the FQPL 1 teams in your group. So straight away, it's a good chance to see where they're at.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it's always nice. You got to always have things where you go, oh, we should have done that better. We should have done this better. But hey, as footballers, that's how we learn.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think the girls do well. I think they'll do really well. Got a good feeling.
Yeah, me too. So that is Friday, 21st of February, 7:30 kickoff at Goodwin Park. They're doing the whole, female, the ladies' football team kickoff. So get down there, Goodwin Park, 7:30, Friday.
Let's go support the girls.
Come and support the girls. We'll see you there. Welcome back to the Ultras Pod second half. If you missed yesterday's episode, we're going to start doing 2 episodes a week, one focusing on the women's team and the other one focusing on the men's team. In this episode, we review the Gold Coast United match in the Kappa Pro Series Round 4, and we're previewing Round 1 of the National Premier Leagues against Sunny Coast away. Against Gold Coast United, it was round 4 of the Kappa Pro Series, so our 4th competitive match this season for the men. Unfortunately, you weren't there. You had
otherwise engaged.
You were otherwise engaged. So I can tell you all about this match. As we very much predicted in our preview in the video before, it was a very tight match. It was it was 1-1 at the end of it. It was again, it was one of those kinds of matches where the first half was very much feeling each other out and no one taking too many of their chances. We were certainly missing the likes of Fumi in midfield and Hiroshi up front and things like that, but we had more than enough magic on the pitch. Damon Gorell was continuing his fantastic start to the season, and so did Daniel Leck. Their goal, we just didn't deal with it. They pumped the ball into the box, the ball dropped a couple of times, bounced a couple of times, and then they just hit it. It was really unfortunate to see. We just didn't deal with it properly. But then there was just not that many chances either way. Gold Coast maybe having the most of them, but either then it was maybe 2 to 1 chance, 3 to 2 chances for the entire game. So it was a really, really tight affair. I felt like Lyndon Farr had a very, very good game, bringing the magic once again, and he was at the end of the day the one who won the penalty.
Okay.
Yeah, making it
one of those games that was it tight midfield? Was it played at the flanks? Was it very heavily defensive?
It was a little bit back and forth. It was a little bit end-to-end, just not making into the chances. So it was sort of, I guess, midfield sort of to penetrate the final third each side. It was very physical, but it wasn't dirty. Both teams are really going at each other hard. There were a couple of yellow cards shown, but you're going to get that. You're going to get that with 2 NPL teams going head-to-head.
Yeah. 2 to 4 cards per game is not unusual.
Exactly. And Gold Coast wanted to keep their unbeaten start going. We wanted to try to get some points on the board, especially to continue to the next round of the Kappa Pro. This was a game that we needed points out of. So it was a very tight, hotly contested affair.
A lot at stake.
Exactly right. And then at the end of the day, Daniel Leck had the calm and composure to put it away, and I believe that's 5 from 4 for him now. So Daniel Leck is on fire.
Mate, on fire. Mr. Ice Cool is on fire.
Yeah, I know, right? What a man. What a legend.
No. Just brilliant. He's just a brilliant player.
He is, and the expectations he demands of himself. I saw him deep in conversation after the match with Grozzy, clearly not happy with himself and everything else, despite the fact that, he scored the penalty and he was the one that got us, to equalize at the end there. But it was the same against Holland Park. He scored 2 goals and he was unhappy that he didn't score more. He's just this incredible professional that we're so lucky to have.
Not wrong, yes. You're very blessed to have his services for many, many years, I hope.
I hope many, many years, at least this season, but I hope he continues to be playing in the red and white, so. So now that the Kappa Pro Series is over for at least another month until the 5th game is played, we're on to round 1 of the National Premier Leagues for the men's.
Can't wait. So excited.
Yeah, me too. Our first trip is an away trip, and it's probably one of the furthest away trips that you'll get in the NPL, which is all the way up to Sunny Coast, up to Budrum. So at least we get that one. We tick that one out of the way. We don't have to go make that trip again. Tough place to go to. It was for us last year as well. I think we lost 2-0 if I remember correctly, or no, we lost 1-0. We lost 1-0 away up there last year, but we lost 2-0 at home. They had our measure last season.
Yeah.
Didn't know how to contain them. I don't know how else. They finished about 2 places below us, but we just did not know how to contain them.
Yeah. It's funny you have those sides you just can't do.
No.
You're always jittery, you're always nervous about them. I don't know what it is. Even when you played football, even when I played football, you had those teams you go, oh God, it's them.
Yeah. And I
And
don't
all
know.
of a sudden you have this mental breakdown of how to play against this side, and you don't really get on top.
Yeah. I don't know if they're just a little bit ragtag and they sort of, get under our skin a little bit and sort of unsettle us and they get it from there, or if they're so good against our tactics or they're so, aware of how we play that know how to play around it. Either way, I think both games that we came out from a loss, we were surprised both times.
Mm.
And the second game away from when we were away up at Ballinger Park was a couple of days after the RPL Leichhardt game, funnily enough, in the Australia Cup.
Yeah.
So we sort of put it down as, this is a little bit of the hangover from what was such a momentous occasion for us.
It was certainly an extreme high.
Yeah.
So the boys, they may have been, they may have not been, but it was an incredible high night for everyone involved.
Yeah.
It could be right. It's a bit of a hangover.
Yeah, exactly right. But Sunny Coast have started this year really, really well. They're 3 from 4 at the moment in the Kappa Pro Series men. They've beaten Logan, Eastern Suburbs, and Kapalaba, but they lost 6-2 to Penn Power, which is a massive result.
That's not that away from Penn Power. Penn Power's a really good side too.
Penn Power is a really good side, and from what I've seen, that they've recruited quite well. Not to say that Sunny Coast hasn't, but from what I've seen, Penn Power has. But again, I actually watched the Sunny Coast Eastern Suburbs game on FQTV the other week, and they played really well. They actually played really, really well. So I think we'll have our work cut out for us, as you would with any NPL match.
Yeah. Different set of stakes now too.
Yeah, exactly right. No easy games.
No, not these one-off games now. Now we're into the long haul. Yeah, we've got to start well.
Yeah, we've got to get
couple of games where you don't start well, all of a sudden it can be very, very tough.
Yeah, I remember last season we didn't start well, and it took us a little while to get that confidence, get that flow going, and getting back under it. And I think it was well into March, maybe start of April, when we actually really started getting our flow back, and then Easter hit, and there was a bunch of rain, and we were off for a couple of weeks.
You can't trust her.
Yeah, I know, especially not in Brisbane. Banging football. But yeah, so should be a good match. Should be an absolute classic match. One of the few teams that also has a rival ultras party.
Yes. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good. Obviously, I was up there last season. They have a banner as well. They were chanting away and everything like that. So it's really, really good to see that there's more than just 2 nutters in the NPL. There's more than just you and I. There's a few more around the joints.
Who would those nutters be?
Yeah, really good. Really looking forward to seeing the lads in action, in full NPL competitive action. Round 1 can't come any quicker for us. That is Saturday, the 22nd of February, 5 p.m. kickoff at Ballinger Park. It is a bit of a journey, but if you do come up, we will be there.
And I think you're guaranteed some great football too.
Definitely some great football.
Great games. So it's worth the journey.
Yeah, definitely worth the journey. Both teams managed, about mid-table finishes last season, so it's going to be a really, really good clash.
Yeah, brilliant clash.